Hi, I'm back. So, this was the very first girl I met, and she literally dropped out of the sky into my reality. And we were sitting at a friend's RV, and I looked at her and I said, "This guy you're talking about, uh, is that his wife that's in the hospital?" She goes, "No, it's his sister." And then she said, "Well, we get along because she was locked up in prison for 20 years or so. And he was too, and they were pen pals. That's how they found each other." So she was in prison because the relationship she was in, she was young. She was 25 because she had been in prison 20 or 25 years, and she was 52 or something when I met her. She was just a couple years older than me. I'll be 50 in a week and a half. Yes. 50 is a big monumental birthday for a woman. I think that's what kind of led to this journey too, is knowing that I was going to be 50 and was I really happy with where I was in my life. Yet I wound back up where I started. So I guess I was happier than I thought, which is my last aha moment. But I looked at her and I said, "Is your friend's name Dennis?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "His sister, is her name Barb?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Do they live at Street, Troy, Missouri?" Da 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 da. She goes, "Hang on," because she was in prison. So she looks in her little thing and she goes, "Yeah, but the sister lives at," and I said, "Da da da," because I know the address. And she's like, "How do you know?" I said, "That's because that's my ex-husband's mother, and that's his aunt and his uncle. And sadly, his aunt did pass away. God rest her soul. Peace and love up to you, Barb. I hope you're looking down on all of this." But I was in a remote island. I was on a remote island in the middle of nowhere, Texas. There was one gas station on the whole island, one store, like a Valero or something. It was not a tourist beach like Galveston by any means. Very non-touristy. Only locals go to this beach. And I was at the end of the road. There was one road to the beach, and there were like two roads after mine till the end of the actually one side street, and then the end of the road. Um, so to this is the first girl I met there, and she happened to know his whole family. So she actually called the uncle, and I got on the phone. Well, my uncle through marriage, not hers. It was her friend. And I got on the phone with him, and he's like, "There's no way this is you." And I'm like, yes, there is, because you're talking to me. So, um, I couldn't figure out the message. I kept saying, "Okay, guys, I'm not sure what message you're trying to tell me, send me, but I don't get it. I got the message, but I don't understand the meaning behind it." So I took that as a reason to maybe move on with my travels. Well, I didn't, but a good friend of mine, hi Jason, and my mother both said maybe it's time for you to move on to the next destination. So between that and Murphy's Law, everything that could go wrong would. Everything broke on my RV. Structurally, not the engine wise, but structural wise. It's like everything that could break did break. It was very hard physically by myself without having any help. I redid a third of my roof, and I had a really bad leak, and I was getting mold. And at the beach, you ain't getting rid of mold. There is no dry that's going to get you to get rid of that mold. I didn't know the mold would disappear within 2 days of being at the high desert, but yet it did. So when I left Texas, I went to Joshua Tree National Forest, high desert of Arizona. I was 100 miles southeast of Vegas. And I wanted to which is Worldwide Organic Farming Organization. Worldwide Organization of Organic Farming is what it stands for. And basically, you stay on other people's land. In my case, I had an RV, so I got to park it there. And I got free food in exchange for me working on your farm. Um, so my first farm experience lasted a little over a week. That was it. And then I took a few weeks getting to my second, a couple weeks to get to my second farm. I went through Sedona was a place I really wanted to stop and see. Mount Shasta. I'd already done Mount Ida. These are all huge energy portals. Um, and then I found out about Crestone, Colorado, which has got like 7 portals or 11 portals or something like that. Huge energy center. I'd heard about it, but I didn't know where in Colorado it was. So I knew I wanted to go there. But anyway, so I went to Arizona, the high desert. My hair lost 4 inches in a week because I went from super curly and humid to super dry and straight. My hair did not do well, nor did my skin. Um, I had to literally cut about that much of my hair off. Hang on, I got a notification that my phone is dying. Go figure, everybody's phone is dying. So, I think the lady was maybe running some drugs with me in the truck. Not like super hardcore drugs, but pot. It was still illegal to be running that much of it, and I didn't know, and I was in the vehicle with her, and that was not okay with me. Like, maybe if I would have been pre-warned or something, but I was not. And then one of her friends died, and she was um using his house for like a B&B or something. Man, I don't know. It was just super shady, and I was living out there, and I'm like, no, that is not okay. But while I was there, I was living on the west side of the Grand Canyon, so there were the helicopter tours that would go around, but we were completely off grid. There was no electric. She lived on solar and some wind and a generator. Um, the food was fantastic. There were a couple other woofers there. One of them knew how to cook. I mean, really cook. So, um, guys like to cook more than girls. I found this out. If you want to eat, be around boys. Anyways, we had a fantastic chef there, and they killed a rattlesnake and ate it, and just it was just superb. That part of it, the shady part of the female. I mean, she was almost 60-year-old German lady, and it was just crazy. So I left there, took my time going through Arizona, went down to Sedona. I hated it. I didn't hate it because of the energy. I hated it because it was so touristy. I was not wanting to be around that many people, kind of like at the beach. And I think it was a Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend or something, so it was like an extra busy tourist time, and I didn't realize that. The drive there was gorgeous. Drive out was gorgeous, but the town itself was just too hectic for Gina. So I went from there to, I drove through Arizona. I stopped in New Mexico for a little bit at Sky City, and that's a casino, and it also has super cheap RV parking, like super duper cheap. So I stayed there for a little while. It was fun, and then I was ready to move on. So I was trying to find this place in Colorado, because I knew there was one like Mount Ida in Arkansas, and I found it, and it's called Crestone, and it's in the San Luis Valley or San Luis Valley if you're out there. I'm like, no, it's Louis, They don't pronounce the S, kind of like Illinois, not Illinois, but that's probably because I live in Missouri. So um, I picked up some hitchhikers. It was so fun. They were 20 and 24, a little young couple that was backpacking across the country. I thought that was really neat. Of course, I stopped at a pot shop as soon as I got to Colorado. Yes, I did. Pot is good for your soul. And I actually brought some back from Colorado. I know, not much, right? So a little tiny bit. I didn't even really realize I had some in there. I got rid of the rest of it. I gave it away before I left. But um, so I went to Crestone, and it was amazing. I dry camped there. So the only time I had power and water was when I was at an RV park. While I was woofing, I did not. My RV, like I said, I didn't have water or any of that. All I could do was tinkle in it, which is fine. When I stayed on the woofing farms, You can either use their bathrooms or you can go to the bathroom outside. And I dug myself a little hole and had a little pooper outside. So I would poop in the mountain and have views of the mountains. You know, I know TMI for some of you, but whatever. If you're still with me, yes, I did. But Crestone was beautiful. I dry camped there and made fires in the wilderness and cooked. I was eating pretty much still raw at that time, but I just thought it'd be fun to do. I was out there and made a pot of beans, and it was just fun. I had a good time. My dogs had a fantastic time. Shot my gun a little bit. Um, him's just still sleeping. Him a baby. Easy part of him. Him my baby boy. Anyways, went to Crestone, and then I knew I wanted to stay in the San Luis Valley. You have the Cascades on one side and the Rockies on the other, and oh my God, it's just absolutely stunningly beautiful. Beautiful does not describe. The stars at night. Oh, so I went from Crestone. I did find a woofing farm to woof at in the San Luis Valley, and I had a blast there. I actually wish I would have went back, or not went back, because I needed to be home now, but I wish I would have stayed longer. It was my favorite place to be. I would pull all my shades up at night when I went to sleep because there were thousands, if not millions, of stars in the sky. I've never seen that many stars in a sky, not even at the beach where they like that. It was, oh, like sleep in your hammock, sleep worthy, except it was like 20 degrees at night there. And it was really, really cold still. So, I got to organic farm there. It was actually a chicken farm, and when I was a little girl, I lived on a farm, and we had chickens and pigeons. They had chickens and pigeons and duck and geese. So I got to take care of the birds while I was there, and that was super fun. That whole experience was fun. The girl there was my age, and she had been through a lot of the similar things in life that I had been through, and was really easy to talk to, and I probably should have stayed there longer, but like I said, my journey led me to a full 360, full circle, and I'm a firm believer in you're always in the right place at the right time, and everything happens for a reason. And again, you are always right where you need to be, right where your higher self, your team of angels and guides and ascended masters and guardian angels, all that stuff is always with you, nudging you by synchronicities. So when you guys see synchronicities, whether they're on the clock, you look at the clock and it's 111 or 1111 or 1212 or 222 or 333 or 444, da 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 da. Please know that is really the universe trying to say you're on the right track, or pay attention to what's going on around you. Synchronicities are your key to living a happy, long life, I think, because you have to trust your inner guidance system, people. We all have one. We all came equipped here. So if you're saying, where the hell is mine? Like I was saying, and then I went to a guardian, not a guardian, but a guide class, like your team, your guide, your guides, your higher self. And I was like, where the hell is my team? And they're like, your team has been sitting around for 49 years waiting for you to call on them. Which I did do before I left. And so I think that's why, another reason I left. It was just something I know I needed to do at the time. So again, I'm alone at this point. I have been. No electricity, no running water. That woofing experience in the San Luis Valley of Colorado, most breathtaking area I've been on this planet to date. Even going to the Mayan temples was not the same as being in the San Luis Valley. It is uncomparable to anything else I've ever experienced to date. But that was probably my favorite experience out of my whole 6-month journey. So I'm going to video 3, and that'll almost bring me up to date. Peace and love and light. Catch you on the flip side.